we talked about it last week. B and C class, yeah, maybe you're a value, maybe you're not appreciating right now because the market's going down. But if you structure it like you just said, you're on long-term debt, well, your cash flow is always going to be there. These people that can't buy houses anymore or lose their houses, where are they going to live?
Welcome to Highballers, where we hold nothing back, talking all things real estate and real estate investing.
Welcome back, guys, to another edition of Highballers. I'm Merrill.
I'm Josh Harmon.
And we are back for episode number 3. Great review so far. We appreciate everybody. Make sure to go and review us after us. Let us know, good or bad, how we're doing. Give us a rating. It really helps us out as we kind of know what you want to talk about and what we can improve on through our podcast.
For sure. I appreciate everybody. I mean, our first YouTube video did over 500 views, which is kind of unheard of. I've had a YouTube channel for, 2 years, and I don't even have a video with over 500 views yet, I don't think. Maybe one, so it was awesome.
I was telling them earlier, I've gotten random messages on Facebook, text messages from people I hadn't talked to in a while, telling me how much they enjoyed the podcast and what they're learning. We want you to learn from it and grow from it. Real estate, entrepreneurship, life, anything that we can add value to. That's what we're trying to do.
For sure, because we've screwed up enough.
That's right.
So.
We've screwed up so y'all don't have to.
Just like your parents, man, or your mentor. I don't know, your uncle, like Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know. We're the rich uncles, I guess. So.
Man, I tell you, that's a good book. I always thought, that's for beginners. I'm past that. I don't need to read that. I read that. It was life-changing for business. I mean, learning his thoughts.
First question, what real estate book was a game changer for you or that you've learned a lot from? And I have a pretty unique perspective because I've read all of them and I hated 90% of them.
So let's take out Rich Dad Poor Dad because that's everybody's answer to real estate. So it wouldn't be mine either. And this is not necessarily real estate, but it's related to my business and real estate. And I've talked about it if you've watched my YouTube channel. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Okay.
It is a former FBI negotiator who applies it to real life sales and business training. And man, it's something that I'm getting the chills just talking about it because it will really get you motivated, dive deep into people's personality, learn how to negotiate with them. But then you get to hear those cool stories that he applies, they use it to apply to. Yeah. And so it's a game changer for me.
So I read that book, and I read a lot of books, and I kind of related to politics, so I don't have any favorite politicians or anything like that. Just same with books. I try to look at things on the outside looking in, and when I read that book, I'm all about because I'm in the sales industry. So when you're talking to somebody, mirroring personalities and all those little gimmicks and tricks, I'm not a big fan of it. I think you just need to get to know the person, point blank period, figure out what's important to them, and figure out how you can mix your goals with their goals. And if it doesn't mix, then you don't do business. So the Never Split the Difference book was great. I like a lot of stuff in it, but I'm not the gimmicky guy. And I feel like it was kind of gimmicky, in my opinion. Some of the books that really stood out to me were, even though I'm not in real estate development, Donahue Peebles, he's a real estate developer out of DC. I think he's the wealthiest black real estate developer in the world. He's a billionaire for sure. And his story stood out to me a lot. His book, I forget the name of the book. I'm not big on names of books. I'm just big on the authors.
As long as you take out what the information is.
Jorge Perez, he's a real estate developer as well. He worked with Stephen Ross, who's the owner of the Dolphins. He had a book that was great. So those 2 books for minorities really just gave me the confidence to know that I can do it too. Sure. So their stories from beginning to end. I really enjoyed those. I'm not big on names of books. Look up, they only have 1 book, each of them. So, I'll
say this too, is if you're reading a book like that and you're trying to learn from it and grow from it, whether it's personally, business-wise, real estate-wise, when you're reading it, either take tidbits from it, whether you do audiobook. What I do is record those little spots that are really informative for me, and go take action on it. I will say that. Go take action on it, because if you don't do that, you wasted your time reading that book because you're not going to take anything from it. You're going to forget all about it. Yeah. So sometimes you got to go reread a book just to remember.
How many books did you read last year?
I read over 1 a month. So I read like 14.
Okay. Last year I read 60 books.
That's
and
awesome.
2019, end of 2018 through the entirety of 2019, some of them got lost, and I kept probably have 30 of them left because I moved like 3 times, offices, homes, and all that stuff. And some of the books that are that impacted me the most that weren't real estate related are all of Grant Cardone's books. I personally do not like him, and I probably wouldn't like. I don't think I can sit down with him for more than 10 minutes because his energy is just like ridiculous, and I'd be like, all right, relax, dude. But his books were like had a really big impact on me, and what I'm doing in 2020 is I'm just rereading those books.
Yes.
So I'm not picking up new books. I'm just rereading the ones I have and trying to dissect those a little bit deeper because they help me out so much. Just dissect the ones you already have and reread them. So that's my goal for 2020.
So I had not read a book that wasn't sports related until 2019. Because I just didn't read. I couldn't sit down to read. I didn't have the patience for it, and I wasn't in that mode of learning yet.
Yeah.
I wasn't. That mindset wasn't
Are you
there.
borderline ADD?
I'm past borderline ADD. If you can't see, I'm probably going to move in 18 different positions during this podcast. On the video version, at least you can see. But the first book I read when I started back was I left the Grant Cardone conference. I went to the 10X in Miami in 2019. I read 10X.
Yeah.
And I don't read, I listen to audiobooks because I drive a lot. I put a lot of miles on the road, and so I listen to that, and it makes you want to run through a brick wall. He's the one that does it. He does the audio, and like it or not, there's a lot of things you can take out of there. You got to kind of dumb some of it down a little bit, but it's all about taking action. What I said a while ago, taking action and investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And so it really is big for me, but I also listen to a lot of podcasts too. So I'll read a book and then I'll take a couple weeks to listen to a couple weeks worth of podcasts, catch up and all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our first question. I really enjoyed that first one. Well, actually, our second question. If you're local to the Fort Smith, Arkansas market, you may understand this. If you don't know about the Northwest Arkansas market, Bentonville is the headquarters of Walmart. So this is based on that question. Do you think that the Northwest Arkansas market is oversaturated?
And so I'll let you start on that, as I never really entered it. Let's say if I did, I exited it because we talked about that last week.
But your dad's in it pretty heavily.
He is, but I've been out of his game for a couple of years now, but he's continuing to grow and expand up there.
Yeah.
But I'll let you talk a little bit about it, and then I'll tell you what what our thoughts on it.
Yeah. So I do not think it's oversaturated. As long as the job growth and the median salaries keep up with the population growth, I think it'll be okay. You really have to dive deep into analytics, and these very high highs are going to meet very low lows, and it'll even out to just about every other market as well. Because when it hits, the bottom is going to hit the bottom pretty hard. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs, which is going to affect home ownership quite a bit at some point. I don't know when that'll be because they just built a Topgolf and that's bringing another 400 jobs. So how do you, at what point do you say, all right, it's oversaturated? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. The jobs are keeping up. So when you get into multifamily, the arena that I'm in on a mostly, I guess I'm in home. I sell homes as well, but I really, really pay attention to the high level analytics as it relates to apartment complexes. And, you're always going to need a place to stay. So it may affect your property value, but if you're not over leveraged and you're on long-term debt, do you think that it really affects you at all? I don't.
No, it only affects new construction high A class.
Yeah.
It really does,
I think
because we talked about it last week. B and C class, maybe you're a value, maybe you're not appreciating right now because the market's going down. But if you structure it like you just said, you're on long-term debt, well, your cash flow is always going to be there. These people that can't buy houses anymore or lose their houses, where are they going to live?
Yeah.
A's got to step down. Home ownership losses got to step down. There's your B and C class.
Yeah.
They're there. It's going to stay there.
Yeah.
But it's the new construction class A, those are the risky ones. And that's what happened in 08 and 09 in Northwest Arkansas. And we bring up Northwest Arkansas, it's becoming big around the country. So as our audience grows, we may have people listening outside of Arkansas and Oklahoma. Northwest Arkansas is a hub for a lot of things. Walmart, Tyson, it's just growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
And every small town around it is now becoming Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
Because you can't find anything around for prices you can get around here.
Yeah, and the reason why new construction is a little bit more volatile and it's a little bit more risky, it's high risk, high reward. So when you hit your delivery day and you lease up quickly and you refinance out and you get everything done in a timely manner, you're gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But when you miss your delivery date on construction, then when you don't lease it up in time because the market, people are starting to lose their
Think
jobs.
about all your interest costs.
Exactly, all the holding costs. It's just like a flip.
On a master scale, yeah.
That's all new construction is. It's a flip on a high end scale. You're raising that money so you can deliver a product on time. And once you've delivered your product, now you need to lease that property up so you can now refinance out on long-term debt and get out. So if you can't hit those dates, then what? You're in it, and you may, if you structure it right, you may just lose the property and not everything you own. But that's when things start to get a little risky. So continue to look at the long-term analytics, no matter what market you're in, the demographics. The migration, how many people are coming in on a monthly basis, how many new jobs are being created in your market.
You're right.
Don't just listen to Donald Trump and say he's telling everybody this is the best economy in the world and the United States economy is doing great. Look at your market and understand what jobs are coming in. Are the rental rates catching up with the median income and different things like that. And if you start to see things soften a little bit, you need to start looking out for doing flips and doing new construction. That'd be my advice. So
yeah, I mean it's we're sitting here in March 2020, and something you can't predict is I say this in quotes, a pandemic, coronavirus. Which I want to go on my rant about that, but
it's not coronavirus, it's the Roni.
Oh God.
Be careful out there.
But you see the stock market dropped to its lowest point in 32 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I guess when I was born. And so, you look at that as something unforeseen. You can't predict the future. I mean, you can try and do your best, and that's how you can really make get a big lick on an apartment complex. That, what you talked about a while ago, turned a lot of people into multimillionaires when the market is high, and it is hot right now.
Yeah.
But if you get stuck in that construction, you're building a 300-unit multifamily.
Yeah.
You're not going to build that in 2 months.
No.
You got to be able to analyze the market
18,
at completion.
24 months. Yeah.
At completion, so get it filled up. You either A, refinance, or B, sell it, and you can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. And so, depends on how you bought the land, and if you got in. A lot of people that got it cheap before everything exploded, became multi-millionaires, and then probably all lost it too.
Yeah.
During that. So
we can talk about this topic all day. Obviously, we're probably geeking out on.
I don't know if we found the topic we can't talk about all day yet.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we pay attention, and that's why we want people to watch, because sometimes you have these questions and you don't know who to ask. Like, I want to get into house flipping, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Or high level. This is a pretty high level question.
It is, and what we encourage people is we got some interaction after our last podcast. Keep asking questions. Go to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, anywhere. Ask a question. Ask it to me and Josh. Send us a direct message or something. So
no, send Matt a direct message. No, I'm just kidding. You can send me one. Next question. This is a Matt question. He's gonna love this one. Private money. How do you raise it, use it, and return it to your partners in a timely manner?
there is a lot to talk about.
I'm just gonna sit back.
Because it depends on what you're doing. So let's say you are, raising money to flip houses. That's the simplest way. You talked about syndication a while ago, just briefly, people doing syndication, or that may have been off air before we started. And that will be another topic where we can go real deep into probably a whole episode of syndication.
Yeah, for sure.
But that is the high level stuff. That is multifamily self-storage, et cetera. So flipping a house, let's take an example. You're wanting to use private money. Keep the banks out of it. Build that relationship with investors, and we'll talk about that. But
who would you get private money from, first and foremost? Who is a private money lender?
It's so simple that people overthink it because you don't know everybody's finances. You don't know what they have in their 401k or their retirement account or just savings accounts. Yeah. Family, friends. It's really that easy to start.
And now would be the perfect time to talk to people about 401k.
Yeah, because everybody's stock, accounts are just dipping. Hey, I can provide you this return, and you actually can go to your investors and probably get a lower interest rate right now because they'll still be happy with it. Yeah. And so start with family and friends. And I'll also suggest this, and I hope I don't get her name wrong, but this was recommended to me, part of my real estate mastermind group, the 7-figure group, is Susan Lassner, I believe is her name, and the book's called Getting the Money. Getting the Money is all about raising private money for your business or your real estate investing. And so family and friends is the start. You really want to have some history, some knowledge of what you're doing, something you can show them. But the best bet to get started for somebody that's going to trust you is your family and friends. So you get that, you build your history up, you build your credibility, then you can start sourcing out friends of friends. And then actually going to, doctors are really good people because they don't have time to invest in real estate. They're so busy that they have money set aside somewhere. And you could go off, make a pitch to them. And you're probably gonna get a very small amount of time, just like a pharmaceutical rep. You're in there trying to fight for that time and that money. And so you can really source that out in many ways. Golf clubs, go to a private golf club and make a presentation. But you're using that money so you can go and pay cash for properties. If you pay cash for properties, you're going to get the property cheaper, you're going to close faster, and you're going to have less closing costs. It really has a lot of benefits in raising private money. That way you're not stuck. So you got your purchase price. You've got your rehab costs. Remember we talked about all these holding costs.
Yeah.
Factor your holding cost, factor in 10% over, that's where you're raising the money. Raise that money, that way you have no problem getting your people paid, you got no problem getting draws. If your property sits another month or two on the market, you've got it all covered, and then you offer a package deal and a rate of return to your investors. You say, how do you pay them back? Some people are gonna ask for equity, which is a percentage of your profit in the deal. Some people are gonna ask for just a promissory note where it's a typical loan, like they're the bank. So what you do is you put them on the mortgage as security. You put them on the insurance as additional insured. And so you make sure they're always covered in case something happens to you.
Yeah.
Or the property burns down, or the deal just goes to crap.
Yeah.
And so they're always secured. So you always want to present to them the security. Hey, here's what you're getting in place of your money. We're actually giving you the value that we call ARV, after repair value, is $150,000. I'm wanting to borrow $110,000 to cover my purchase price, rehab, and all holding costs associated with it. And so, just like a bank, you're really providing that security, but they're not going to go and run your credit and make you pull all tax returns and get all that stuff. It's your trust you're building. You're building that trust. Build that trust, then you can build that package together where you can show, hey guys, look what I paid my investors for 2019. This is what I paid them. This is what they made. This was their average rate of return. And so, starting off, I learned from, I can't remember the guy's name, one of the first people I ever learned raising private money. He offered a 60-40 split. So he says, hey, I will give you 40% profit of my flip, and or I will give you 12% interest on the deal, whichever's higher. And, I made a mistake when I started, and so I'll tell you not to make this mistake, is don't offer monthly interest payments. Don't. Pay them at the end. Pay the full amount when you pay them back. So if you borrowed $100,000 and you're going to pay them back, $10,000, that's ridiculous, but you're going to pay them $10,000, pay them back $110,000 when the deal closes. That way you're not stuck with that other holding cost that you set yourself up in. I did that because I thought it sounded better. I didn't know any better. And not that it ever hurt me, but it was a big inconvenience at times when we were having other deals going.
Yeah.
And so it really takes it out of your cash.
Yeah.
But,
if they're going to be a partner, allow them to be a partner. Don't allow them to, they're essentially a partner in your deal. Yeah. So why should they get money before?
I felt like that was easier to present to somebody who wasn't a family or a friend.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe how many times you go into a meeting with a guy that that has money put back. Or
guy or girl, hey man, that's not cool.
I apologize, and I usually do better at that.
That's not cool.
A
guy or girl.
Guy or girl that has done well for themselves and needing, busy, don't have time to get into real estate or too hesitant to get into real estate. You go present to that as, hey, do you know anyone? That's what I do. Do you know anyone that'd be willing to do this deal for me? I got this property right here. Go in with a deal. Have a deal ready. And this is what I've done so far, and this is what I'm looking at doing right now, and in the future I'm looking to raise this amount of money. That's what I did. And every single time I've done that, that person has been my lender. Yeah. They end up working the deal with me.
What do you think is the deciding factor for somebody who has some liquidity, or they have a 401k that isn't performing how they would like it to, just like a better return. What do you think is the deciding factor for those people to, invest in one of your deals? Is it being professional? Is it having a track record? Is it, you having skin in the game? What do you think the most important
we're
thing?
not talking about, so we're past family and friends, right?
Yeah,
now we're presenting to somebody else.
Well, anybody.
To me, it's track record.
Yeah.
Your track record is going to be it, and a lot of them will want to see your skin in the game.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll put this in if you put in $5,000, or if you do this.
Yeah.
The skin in the game is probably number 2, but track record, they want to see it. Just like anything else in business, they want to see your history of that before they're going to take a chance on it.
Yeah.
So always have your numbers ready, have your stats ready, and show them what you've done. Here's what I bought it for. Here's my settlement statement of what I sold it for.
Yeah.
Here's what we made on it.
So I'll give you an example. I think on the low level, if you just want to borrow, let's say $5,000 to $10,000 to get a deal done for a down payment, because Matt talked a little bit last week about being able to go to hard money lenders who can be more flexible on your requirements in order to get into a deal. So you don't have to have as long of a track record. You don't have to have the perfect credit score, but they're going to ask for money down still. You're not going to be able to get into this money for no money down. Still 20 to 25% down.
That's right. 25% was the first one I ever got presented to.
Yeah, so you can then go to your private money lenders, your friends, your family, your friends of family, and see if they can, fund some of that down payment with a higher interest rate loan. Pretty much is what they're doing. I think with the smaller deals, when you talk about maybe doing a flip house and you need to get into on the acquisition, or you want to put a down payment on it.
Kind of like your gap funding.
Gap funding, your duplex or your fourplex that you don't have the down payment for, but you have the financing in place. I think having a brand is the most important thing with those type of deals. Them knowing that, hey, look, I've been out here looking for deals for a while. I've been analyzing a lot of deals. I think that's the most important thing, coming professional and having a brand. I think the higher deals, when we start talking about syndication, we start talking about, hey, I need to raise $200,000 to buy this apartment complex. You got to put money in.
You're talking about general partnerships and limited partnerships and attorneys, and it gets real crazy. Let me add something on there on structuring when you're borrowing the down payment, because I've done that 1,000 times. It feels like. So now you still want to give them security, so you still need to be in a good position. So if hard money is giving you a 75% loan to value, well, you need to make sure your ARVs are right. So you're going to give your lender some security. So what you're going to do is put them on the mortgage. They're going to be a second mortgagee now, and they're going to be an additional insured on your insurance. That way the hard money is going to get paid first. Then your private money guys or gal is going to be paid second. So that way you still go for security, but you still get the deal done, and you don't have to come out of pocket for your gap money.
This is a good question, because I've made these mistakes, but I want you to speak to it, because I know you could probably articulate this message better than I can. What are some mistakes you made on a private money partnership, and maybe the structuring of the deal, or what were some mistakes you did with structuring your deals? I know you're talking about paying them before.
So that was the main one. That was the biggest one, is paying the monthly interest payments. Like I said, that was a mistake, and everybody I've talked to since then
for sure.
always says, do not pay monthly interest payments. It's just a wasted holding costs that they're going to get their money in the short term anyways.
Yeah.
You feel like you're not doing it short enough term, but these people are putting their money in for years worth of what you're going to make them in 6 months.
Yeah.
And so it may not seem like a lot to you, but when their money's sitting in a CD or a savings account, and so also keeping track of everything.
Yeah.
You've got to keep track. And we have made mistakes there. And I've got a great lender, and they're probably going to be listening to this or watching it. And so we've made mistakes in the beginning, because they were our first one on keeping everything tracked and making sure everybody's on the same page, because not only do me and the lender got to be on the same page, Crystal at the office got to be on the same page, we all got to be on the same page to make sure everything's tracked, because they're only going to want this for accounting.
Yeah.
They need this for their taxes, so they know how much interest they made for the year and all that. And so that's just what you deal with when it comes to people that have other businesses and things going on. They got to make sure they're tracking their income. And so track everything. Don't make payments. Set up all your payments at the very end of the deal and structure that. Now, it's different. We've done some long-term deals like that, are 2-year balloons and things like that. That then you're gonna make monthly payments, because you don't want them sitting there and let their money just not do anything.
For 24
and
months.
your business may fall apart.
Yeah.
So You got to make sure to take care of them.
Yeah.
Take care of them, and they'll keep investing in you, and they'll tell their friends about it, and that'll grow your network.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. I mean, you just grow your
That's
network.
why I wanted to keep asking you questions, because I know the longer I let you talk on this message, you would get to that point. I think the biggest mistake that people make from borrowing money from private individuals or anybody is documentation. So not having your contract written out by a lawyer. Why don't you just spend the extra $250, $300, $400 to get a contract set up? These are deals that you guys are going to be splitting 50, 60, 70, 80,000, $100,000 profit. Why would you think that you could just draw up your own contract? It makes no sense. It's very scarce mindset of somebody to do that. And I did that. I made a huge mistake on my first deal, not allowing a lawyer to draft up our documents. And as I tried to use this asset to leverage to buy the deals, we did a 50-50 split on an 8-unit apartment complex. My first deal was an 8-unit off market. We probably forced $200,000 of appreciation. And by me not being smart enough to go to a lawyer and say, hey, draft up these documents for me, honestly, I didn't even have the money to do it. I really didn't. I was like, man, I'm in this deal. I had 10 people tell me no, one person say yes. I was just like, let's just do it. I think he may have drafted up on Law Depot, to be honest with you. And I'm out of that deal now. And I didn't take home a lot of money when I got bought of that deal, because I made a huge mistake of not getting documentation. Get the documentation, and that's pretty much all he was saying. Get the paperwork drawn up professionally, have your documentation. If you say you're gonna pay somebody, pay them. If you say you're gonna do this is gonna be your responsibility in the deal, do it. Do what you say you're gonna do, and more people will come.
One more quick, we have made mistakes in this too, is when you get a network built up of multiple lenders going at the same time, communicate with them.
Yeah.
You don't need to bug them once a month. Let them know, hey, here's the deal, here's how it's going.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be times where you're saying, hey, this deal should be done in 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah.
And it takes longer. They're okay with it. Trust me. They're all going to be fine with it. I always told them, if something goes long and something comes up and you need it right now for some, maybe an emergency or something happens, give me a little bit of notice. You can always back in refinance at a bank.
Yeah.
You can go to a bank. You've already got an established deal going, so that's better. I know we don't have much time. Let me ask you this final question.
No, let me ask the question.
I'm gonna ask you the question.
Okay.
I got an answer for
But
you
I wrote
too,
it, and
I'm gonna ask you.
Go ahead.
So if you lost it all, how would you start over, rebuild yourself stronger than before?
Whoa, that's a loaded question.
Everybody wants to know this, though. Everybody wants to know.
Yeah. So before transparency, I've pretty much gotten out of investing in my own deals as of now. So I have broken myself all the way down. I was in 2019, probably 2018. I was full on trying to, acquire some larger apartment buildings and start to syndicate and do some other things. And I didn't lose it all, but I had to break myself down to the foundation level to understand what's going to get me to my long-term goal of owning 30,000 apartment units. And you don't get there by doing a couple 60-unit deals or 50-unit or 10-unit deals and skinning your teeth, barely even getting into it. You get it by building a brand, building a network, and really understanding analytics on a high level. I can talk about, like the first question, I can really get into demographics on different markets that I'm not even in personally, because I really study and I try to understand it. So I didn't lose it all, but I did break myself down, and I've actually sold out of a lot of the deals I'm in. I really only own a fourplex, and I own my home that has an in-law suite in the back. I sold out of all my other properties because I want to really understand this, and when I really take off and I really want to get into buying apartments, I'm fully ready to do it, and there's nothing stopping me, because I know once I start, I'll probably go and get 1,000 units in 1 year, because I'm really setting myself up to do those type of things. If y'all hear that noise in the back, we're in Arkansas, and we have a lot of tornadoes.
Is it a test?
It's a test, and y'all do this on Tuesdays, and it really freaks me out. There's got to be a more efficient way to do this, don't you think? A text message,
So
a
where
phone
I
alert.
live, I always thought it was on Saturdays. So tornado siren over, got that over with. So I'll give my take on it as we're running out of time. I want to get this kind of condensed, but I'm gonna make it simple and sweet. And this is from talking to a lot of people in some of the industries that I'm in. If I lost it all, no offense to all the awesome people that work with us and work at 2M, but I would have to just let everybody go, and I would wholesale.
Yeah.
I would wholesale, because you can do that with limited to no money, and I know the game, and I would just have to hustle and wholesale. So I would go out driving for dollars, talking to the city, utilities, finding off-market leads for cheap or free, and use my network of buyers. Because good luck going to raise private money when you just failed and lost everything. Because most likely you probably had some private money lenders that you just screwed. Yeah. So my job would be to go make that money back for them, get them their money back, build trust back, use that money, build assets, gain it all back, and go. I know a lot of real estate investors that got into speculative, which is building non-income producing stuff and assets. When the markets crash, they lost it. But I know a lot of them that built back and was even stronger than before. Yeah. And so it's all about you, all about your hustle and drive. My video, about overcoming fear of failure. There you go.
Yeah. If I lost it all, we would pretty much do what we're doing right now, I think. I would just build my brand, build my connections, rebuild my business from the ground up and build a cash reserve to where I can start buying up some of the stuff. Because if I lost it all, I guarantee there's a lot of people who lost with me. And if whoever builds their cash up first and is able to, capitalize on that opportunity of people who lost properties and lost a lot of their businesses and things like that, there's got to be a lot of market share for business to be had. And there's a lot of properties at really cheap values that can be bought as well.
And that's part of the reason why I continue to grow my portfolio of rental units, because I would 100% of all the units that I own are all B and C class. Yeah. And it's recession proof. It's a fact. It's recession proof. My values may go down, but I will always be getting that cash flow to keep me afloat, if some other aspect of my business was failing.
Makes sense.
And so
I agree.
Always have that nest egg. That's not easy to build, but you got to go out and hustle that too and build that while you're going. And so that's a good way on the side to continue to build your reserve, your cash flow to withstand, a market correction or a market recession or something.
Can I ask you something? Unrelated, a real estate question that isn't related?
What?
Well, it's a personal question. Why do your biceps look so good, man? What have you been doing? You been eating different? You been working out?
No, we had
you look good.
Bicep day today at the gym. So I skipped CrossFit this morning, went to the old school type gym and did a little free weeks.
Full transparency, my biceps are bigger than Matt's, but at the same time, he's also very short. My biceps are bigger than yours.
They're just longer.
Okay, we'll do a bicep
Let me
test
comment real
next
fast before we go. I am going to compliment Josh on his attire today, but it does look like he can go to a meeting and then go to a basketball game right after this. So
I always wear sneakers. I'm a real estate agent, man. I got to be prepared.
Looks good. So I'll have to outdo you next week, though.
Well, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to another episode of Highballers. We're still looking for sponsors. If anybody would like to jump in, we're getting a lot of traffic. A lot of our audience is embracing us and giving us reviews and tell us that they love what we're doing. So if you'd like to come in and be a partner with us, we'd appreciate it. Do you have anything?
Absolutely, and we're working on behind the scenes. Going to maybe work on some merchandising in the future, some T-shirts, some hats, some cool glasses. Get something going so y'all can represent our brand. And that logo is really cool to have on a shirt. So
yeah,
I like it.
Well, I think what side am I on? The right side or the left side? I think it's the right side.
You're on the left side.
The left side.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the left side's a lot better. We should just cut it down the middle.
It actually looks just like this. I think you're on this side. I'm on this side.
Okay, perfect, man.
So
let's do that. We'll make sure we work on that.
Hey, give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Shoot us a message. Any questions you may have. We appreciate all of y'all, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.